There we have it, episode 2 of Talk and Turf, and we are back with a very special guest today for episode 2, CJ from CJ Garden Services. Thank you for travelling up, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Are you excited?
I am. Good to be here.
We've had some technical issues, haven't we? But
yeah,
we're working through them. As everyone knows, if you've watched the first episode, what we're going to be doing is just having a really informal chat about the industry and each other's businesses, and then hopefully later on we'll be able to go out and do a day in the life with CJ and vice versa. So that is the scope of this video. So where did it all start, and how have you progressed to where you are now?
Started in school, didn't know what I wanted to do. Like most kids, you're like, I don't know what I wanted to do. At one point I wanted to be a mechanic. I thought I'd be great. I loved working on cars and mopeds and tools, and then it was like, well, I actually need a job now. Yeah. And it was like, there's no mechanic job, and I somehow got an interview at the golf course to be a greenkeeper, and then just stumbled into that. It was kind of like, went to an interview, and it was like, you got the job, you can start.
Well, that's good, though, isn't it?
So I was like, okay, cool. Look, we'll go with that then. So greenkeeping, up early, I didn't mind it, being outside, using all the machinery. I was their first real apprentice that went in with nothing, no qualifications, nothing.
You had the tough end of the stick.
They took me on where everyone else was qualified. I just went in from leaving school, no experience in the slightest. So they took a bit of a jump, but it worked out well for them. Because
how long were you there for?
I ended up doing 8 years there.
Right, so a fair old stint.
Yeah, I didn't do college.
Right.
Because part of me thought, I don't want to do greenkeeping forever. Yeah. So I don't want to invest a load of time into a course that I'm not really in it for. So
was that just because of the location? Like, so you said you don't want to do greenkeeping forever, and obviously everyone knows that. Well, anyone that hasn't met CJ before runs a lawn care company that do refurbishment. So was it like the industry you didn't like, or just being there specifically?
I saw a lot of guys at the course stuck there that had been there from the day they got there. They're there 50 years later, and I thought, I don't think this is for me. Right. And then I thought, I don't really want to go to other courses. So then it tied into, you're finishing early. Yeah. I used to go home, sit on the sofa, have a pizza and go to bed, wait for all my mates to finish work, then we'd all go out messing around. Then it ties in, a few of the older guys are going out cutting lawns after. So then they need a hand. So I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll go out. I'll come out with you for a few hours. Yeah, but then you're earning more money in a few hours after work than you are at the day at work.
Like the light bulb moment.
Yeah, so I'm a few years in, no kids, no real responsibilities. And I'm like, well, I'm doing this whole day here, but earning more in these few hours. So you look at it and you think, well, when's the best time to do it? And there's never a right or a wrong time, is there? So I just thought, right, I'll do it. Yeah,
I've always said to anyone that sends messages and asks for advice, like, the most money you will ever make is in your first year. Yeah. Because you're still trying to work out, rightly or wrongly, people might not have like the correct insurances, or they're using kit that they've got from like family members, so they've not got any payments to make or anything like that, so their overheads are mega low, but they're going out smashing it, like you said, like a couple of hours, and they're like, hang on, I've earned like my month's wage here. So I always reckon like the first couple of years is when like you're the most profitable.
The golf course was the manager there sort of, he was like, are you sure you want to do this? Because you could potentially be left with no income. Do you want to go part-time for a bit? And I was in the position where I thought, no, right. I'm just going to go into it, and if I make it, I make it, and if I don't, then I could probably go back to him and say, any chance of a job?
Yeah, I think leaving, like, obviously me and you have got very similar stories. I left a full-time job, and leaving that job on good terms is so important. Yeah. That would probably be one of my biggest words of advice to anyone that is potentially thinking about doing it is leave on good terms.
Yeah.
I remember I handed my notice in and they'd asked if I could potentially do another 4 weeks because they'd found a candidate.
Yeah.
They'd found a candidate that was successful and was going to take my position. But I was like, well, I've already lined work up, but I did it just because I knew that if 3-4 months down the line, it is someone that I could call on. And even today, I still speak to my old manager and we laugh and joke. He's like, when are you coming back then? And I'm like, no, it's
It was always, part of me was always like, I want to build it so I can keep going back to them and they see the progression. Because every time you go back, they go, how's it going? I'm like, it's going really well. Because they sort of doubt you. People, when you start a business, you will get doubters. What about the money? What about this? What about that? But you don't know unless you actually just go and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just built into people's mentality from school, kind of like this corporate syndrome that you get dropped into. Like when I first set my business up, I didn't even tell my mum and dad for like the first 6 weeks. And then when they found out, like even today, my mum and dad are ringing me like, is everything okay? Are you sure? Are you sure? Like in society, there just seems to be this thing that like, yes, it is hard. And I've done videos on this before, like you've got to be so like self-disciplined and you've got to just every day there's something that happens. Like today I've had to unblock a drain in the toilet like before you got here, and like everything, every day something happens, but you just need the resilience to carry on. And I think it scares a lot of people. Like people have this misconception of running a business. So like when you're speaking to your managers, he's probably never done it. So but it is strange how there's just like this conception of.
But when you start, like I knew nothing. I researched nothing. All I knew is I could turn up to someone's house, cut the hedge, cut the grass, and I'd walk away there with money in my pocket. So at the end of the day, all you need to be able to do is get clients and then you're going to get money. That's the bottom line of it, isn't it? So at first you go around all the neighbours, I'm starting a business. So then you pick up a neighbour. I picked up a few elderly clients that they then all talk. So then that then snowballs. But because it didn't matter how much was really coming in, I didn't have to hurry it along. Still never advertised. I haven't got a website. If you type it in, it says under construction, and it's been like that from the day I set it up.
That's interesting.
So mine has all come from word of mouth and sometimes being at the right place at the right time. So
our last guest, Dave, on the podcast, he was saying how he was talking to the members and like trying to sign them up for lawn care packages. So how did you negate? Did you do a bit of that, or was it?
No, nothing to do with them. I at the start, it was kind of the staff that were there that were taking me on jobs. I think I've probably done a few bits with them and helped them out. I don't think I got any work that really come of it, just the odd bit of help here and there, picking up hedge cuttings and things like that. But yeah, it was just kind of, you'd get one house and then you'd kind of do everything you can at that house. But then when you're seen, then the neighbour saw me. And then it just snowballs. You think, oh, I've got no work. And then something pops up. But I've always tried to offer, if I can get one house, I'll try and offer everything. I don't want to go in and just cut the grass. I want to cut the grass, I want to trim the hedges, I want to do the weeding, I want to clean the patio before I'd clean the gutters. So you don't need loads of clients. You just need a few that you can do everything for.
That's really interesting actually. Like when obviously I started off with residential work and I actually set it up in COVID. I wanted to get out of the house, it was doing my head in, and I was cutting grass for free, and then people were trying to give me money, and then I was like, actually I really enjoy this, Obviously previous work on golf courses, etc. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. But it weren't until I realised, I can't remember who told me to this day, it was some unrelated podcast I was listening to, or someone told me about this podcast, and they were talking about in hard times, look at your current customer base. So many people are like, I need new clients, I need new clients. But then if you actually go to a client's garden, take a look around, like you said, patio could do with a clean.
You offer everything you can.
It's crazy how you can unlock so much revenue from what's in front of you, but you just...
At one stage in the business, I had actually was going to start cleaning windows as well.
Right.
Because I thought if I could get all of my normal gardens to do the garden and clean the windows, and do the patios and everything, I thought there's all that, I could build another business from the one I've already built. It didn't work out well. It didn't go to plan, so I scrapped that off. Just stick to what you know.
Yeah.
But you can either have lots of clients or a few, can't you?
Yeah.
Having less, for me, is easier. Long-term clients as well. For me, if I take a client on now, I want to offer everything, but have them for years.
Yeah.
Some I've had from the start. Some I've had nearly 10 years now. From the day I got to the job, I've had it, commercial ones and residentials.
Yeah, we always get questions about pricing and stuff, and that is actually, it was from a book that I read. I think it's called The E-Myth, and it's about like how to run a business and stuff, and they try and teach you at quoting stage to think about the lifetime value of the client. So if you've got a person, like we've all had those clients that are like, I need my grass cutting now, like it's not been cut in 8 weeks and I've got family coming around the weekend. 9 times out of 10, they're probably not going to sign up to a reoccurring maintenance plan, or so that client might have like the same square meterage as like a client that you can get reoccurring, but there's no way that I'm going to do it as cheap as I will for the recurring, just because of like the lifetime value of that client. So, but it's a lot easier. I've mentioned it before as well on the last podcast with commercial. That's why like I'm more willing to give like discounts to 3, 4, 5 year contracts rather than the one, because you might turn up at a site, get it absolutely pristine, you've done all this work in a year, and then at the drop of the hat, you're gone. I don't know if people know, but CJ Garden Services is on the Instagram.
Yeah.
So how many followers have you got at the minute?
Just hit 13,000.
That's a lot of people. I've always said, like, people always like, oh, it's not a lot. But if we was to get 13,000 in this room right now, it's a lot, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So have you used that with your business to get work, or?
I can't say it's got me any work.
Right.
Clients now will follow along, and clients now like what I put up of theirs. They're quite interested to see who likes it, how many views has it got. But no, it's not got me any work so far. It might.
Yeah, now that's really interesting. I've found it as well in the past. Like, you know, if you put a client's photo up, and then you get loads of comments that are like, fantastic, fantastic. Sometimes it just puts them at ease as well. Like, especially like your renovation videos, some of them are like fantastic. Like, you see this absolutely dilapidated lawn, and then like 2-3 visits time, you're like, bloody hell, like.
I've used the Instagram as kind of like a website.
Yeah.
So if I turn up to quote somewhere and they're sceptical on what the lawn could look like, I can show them that video that I've done of all these different lawns, and they can sit there in front of me and watch it.
It's like a mobile catalogue.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like a website, but it's not. It's my way of doing it. Yeah.
It seems that it's obviously getting traction. I don't want to. We've had conversations, of course, but you're one of those people that I personally believe you by yourself have shifted the mower market a little bit. I've never told you this. We've had conversations on Instagram, but I remember the first year I went to Soltex and Sports Metals were doing their brushes. Yeah. Obviously, you're a massive advocate of Sports Metal brushes, so shout out to them. But then, like this year, we're looking at big manufacturers like WeBang who've suddenly bought a brush out. Like, for me, I can see it from a third person point of view. I'm adding 2 and 2 together. Like, everyone knows you've highlighted WeBang mowers and a big advocate of them and other brands, but you've put your own brush on your WeBang mower and then all of a sudden they've bought one out. I'm not being funny, but there should be a revenue share. That's my opinion. So whether you see it like that or not, but I genuinely think like the content you're putting out is moulding the people that are doing what you're doing. Yeah. And they're definitely listening, I think. Like you're quite a big advocate of the battery equipment. I always see the charging. So do you think that maybe brands that haven't thought about bringing, I don't know, a Scarifier out might be swayed by that, by the content, or?
Possibly. I mean, some brands feel they know best. Some will take on our feedback. Some will, some won't. I think everything's moving battery.
Yeah.
There's no legislation here on what we use, but in America, I'm getting messages of people saying, what battery equipment would you recommend? We're not allowed to use petrol. That might come here eventually. A lot of the sites I maintain now, if I could run full battery, I think it might be a good selling point.
Yeah.
But until the equipment's really up there and you can run 100% battery, I don't want to put that on a tender. No,
I mean, we've won tenders a bit different, but our Primark tender, we had to do a section on biodiversity and carbon footprint. And I went really in depth with it with my crazy OCD brain, but it was like vehicle mileage from the unit and worked it all out. The hand tools didn't really come under it, but I think definitely in the future, stuff like that will start to come in. So I can see that some brands are definitely starting to want to start to work with you. And we were saying before that I'd quite like a brand to listen to like what I've got to say as well, because like what we're doing commercially is totally different to what like solo or even 3 or 4 employees would be doing. So it'd be really good if they did start to listen, and I definitely think that they are starting to listen, but maybe just stuck in their ways with old school marketing strategies. But obviously I saw we were talking about this off camera as well, but we should have saved it for this, with your like Hull Seeds collaboration. Obviously you've got a discount code and whatever, like if they was to start doing that, it'd be really interesting to see the statistics, because I guarantee, like I've done it. I saw a video, we've always run Echo backpack blowers. I saw a video on the Still, like some bloke just whipping off his backpack blower from the side, and I was like, oh my God. Like it was just a little TikTok, like zzz, blowing the leaves. And so like we've all done it. It would just be really interesting if they could either try and give back to the content creator or record those statistics.
I think with the companies, they can make all these amazing photos and videos, but we're actually the ones out all day, every day using the tool. So I think we should be valued a bit more. Our feedback, us showing tools, and possibly get something more for it. I think in the States they're a bit above what we are here. Maybe budgets are a bit different in the UK. Maybe the States have got a big budget and they can just slink it here, there and everywhere and get everyone reviewing it. So we've got some catching up to do. But the codes are quite interesting because it's all linked back, so I can see if I've put a post up of a certain type of seed, I can then see what orders are coming in.
That's crazy.
And how many. And that's what's quite interesting for them as well, because they, in theory, haven't done any advertising. It's just me using the seed. It's generating them more sales. So I could put a video up, one I've done recently, has just hit 1.4 million views.
That's crazy.
So that code in there has gone out to potentially all them people, and Hurrell's haven't had to do anything. I've just done my normal day-to-day work and shown it on a video.
So do you find that quite addictive? There's certain things where we've had bits and bobs in the past, and you start seeing the numbers, like 1.4 million is mental. That's a massive amount of views for our industry. Like, I can't even imagine there's 1.4 million contractors out there, so it's definitely spreading out to other. Do you start looking at the analytics and go, bloody hell, like...
I do, and I think what happened with COVID is a lot of homeowners then grew to really like their own garden and their own lawn, and that brought loads of new people in of doing it themselves. So there's thousands of hobbyists now, and people want to watch how you get a bad lawn looking into a good lawn.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't put much else up other than just lawns. There's a lot of guys doing hedge work that can get thousands and millions of views. But I think anything can get views if it's got some value or there's like a good before and after.
Yeah, definitely.
But the years of putting up a photo side by side, I think are gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem, it's not going to get 1 million likes or 1 million views. There's different ways of doing it now, but you can just pull your phone out, record a bit, and then in 3 months later when the lawn's lovely and green, just press record, and then that can get all them views.
I remember a couple of years ago, we were sending out the letters to the parish councils and doing all the stuff that we normally do. And one year we didn't get as much traction as we normally get. So I got my, we was currently cutting a parish council. I just got my equipment out and did a quick video, and it was like, hi, Jack from CUTCREW, blah, blah, blah. And we did a video on like, show like, did like really cheesy voiceover, like we treat the place like we live there, we're always clean and tidy, da da da, and like showed the quality of the work on a video and sent that out as an email. No text at all, not like give us a call or please consider us, anything like that. Just sent the video, and like it was crazy, like the difference in incoming leads that we got from people that had seen the video. So it definitely works. And it'll be interesting to see, because I think at the minute, I don't know what it's like in America or Australia, but at the minute all the brands seem to be fighting for supremacy, especially on the electric battery market.
Yeah.
And it'll be really interesting to see who like ends up getting like most of the business or like the trusted. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see like which one becomes like the house battery brand. But so when you first set your business up, what was the first piece of kit you purchased, or was it hand-me-downs or?
I think it was a really old 17-inch Honda roller mower, and the kit I used to have was atrocious. It was just absolute rubbish, but I didn't have loads of money at the start, so it was kind of like, well, I'd use a few bits of kit, and then as I've progressed, you buy bigger mowers or better hedge trimmers. But yeah, that Honda mower did a lot, because there's a lot of guys out there that don't stripe lawns.
Yeah.
So if you've got a lawn that's never been striped and you stripe it, the client looks out the window and goes, doesn't that look good?
Yeah, that's different, yeah.
And all you've done is use a different mower.
Yeah.
Obviously it depends on the lawn, type of lawn you've got and everything surrounding it, but the lawn, 17-inch Honda mower.
So would you say the majority of your work at the minute is renovations, or do you take lawns on that haven't had a CJ renovation, or?
Over the years it's changed. When I started, I'd done anything.
Yeah.
Fencing, landscaping, clearing out ponds, everything. Then I got one commercial site. Got one which was in a terrible state. The lawn was bad, everything, it was just trashed. Got in there, kind of turned it around, and then one led on to another. So all of them had bad lawns. I've never quoted one that's I've walked around like, this is nice.
Yeah.
They've all needed loads of work, the lawns are trashed, but they're all paying a lot of money for a service that they're not actually getting. So from one has now lent on to, I've probably got 12 commercials now.
That's decent.
Maybe more. It's obviously just me, so I'm quite limited on capacity. But I feel in the commercial work, why should they have a bad lawn?
Yeah.
You don't have to turn up and mulch it, size depending.
Yeah.
On the sites I'm taking on, they're not massive. Some are, you could have a lawn, say 500 square metres, you could have 2,000. But I want to try and offer the sort of golf course finish lawn, stripe it all up, make it look amazing, and the residents do appreciate it as well.
I think not only that is you get, like, anyone that knows anything about grass knows the healthier the turf is, the healthier the more growth you're going to get. So that's one of the tricks that we do, is wet an agent just before, I don't know, a drought. Like maybe if we think a drought's coming, we'll get wet an agent on the football pitches, and people are like, why are you spending so much money out of your own pocket to stick wet an agent on your football pitches? Because when everyone else is sat at home twiddling their thumbs, not being able to mow their grass, we're still out there mowing. Yeah. Because the leaf is, as you said, like if the lawn is totally, absolutely fine, not affected by drought, it's irrigating perfectly, you've got all year round work. Like one of the clubs we look after have got their own grounds team for like the elite, one of their elite pitches. We can't get on our pitches due to budget because there's only like, I don't know, 3 or 4 verti drains a year. They're verti draining every week, they're still mowing. Yeah. If that was us, we'd be making so much money. Obviously that's all in-house, but people don't think about the return. Like, no. You probably didn't. You probably just wanted pride in your work, and I want my site to look like a CJ site. But there is a benefit to it. Yeah, definitely.
I would get an every other week client, like the lawn, and you'd go there, you'd spray the weeds. Like, cool, spray the weeds, let's now feed it. Because you would get a few saying, I don't really need cutting, not much to do. But if you get some feed on there, you are cutting it every other week. Yeah. Otherwise, it's up to your knees. So at first, it's a bit of an investment.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
And if you spread it over quite a few small lawns, it don't cost a lot at all.
No.
But as mine's grown, the lawns have... I don't want to take on a lawn or a site that I'm not doing the lawns. Like, I want control of the whole site, all the lawn work, everything. I've had a few that I've cut and someone else has fed.
Right.
Doesn't really work because they could have just fed it and you're turning up to cut it. They might possibly be at the lawn every couple of months, whereas I'll be at the lawn weekly. So you can kind of anticipate if there's going to be weeds or disease or something, you're watching the problem happen before 3 months later when the lawn's wrecked. So I've tried to now get rid of every other week, monthly, someone else treating the lawn, and it's just me.
We've had that in the past as well, like where we've got clients that want us to line mark because their contractor didn't know or didn't have the time to line mark, and we've turned up and we're juggling with someone else cutting it, and it just turns into an absolute palaver. Yeah. So many wasted miles. So like now we literally say, unless we cut it, like we're not interested. If it's an initial workout, we're happy to do it, but we will charge you. We're going to bring mowers. We're going to charge you for a cut. If we turn up and it has been cut and it is immaculate, happy days, I'll take it off the invoice. However, this is what it's going to be if we can't get the paint down because the grass is this long, and it just turns into an absolute nightmare. So you mentioned that currently you're on your own. Is there plans in the future to expand the team, or?
I think I'm going to have to.
Right.
Because I can't do it on my own forever.
No.
And what I've built it into now, I can't do it all. I'm getting quotes come in, but I haven't got enough time in the day or the week to take it on.
Yeah.
So
that's really interesting. I'd do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's one of them, the kind of next hurdle.
Yeah.
This year, I've taken the whole business and put all of them on the same system. So they're all on 4 visits a month during the growing season, then to 2 visits a month through December, January, February. So I kind of lost a few, but a few stuck with me. So kind of this year I was like, let's get that out of the way. I know what's coming in every month of the year then. The next step is taking someone on, because I'm basically getting approached by area managers for sites to take them on, and I can't. But I could, if I could get there or get someone else there, that site's mine.
Give us a call. We'll pop up. We'll pop down wherever it is, geography and that.
So if there's someone out there that wants a job based in Woking, give me a ring and we'll sort something out.
I would say, I've spoke about this so many times, but the scariest point of business is your first employee, because you just don't know whether you're going to have the money for them or if it's going to work out. But the amount of time that you can save, like I've always said, like, say at the end of the day, you've got, I don't know, a ton of waste that you need to run down a tip. That takes you 20 minutes to get there, 10 minutes to tip it, 20 minutes to come back. Let's call it an hour. By the end of the day, if that person was to do that for you, and you spent that hour finding new business or going out to do your quotes, you can almost double your revenue that way. It is, until you've got someone else you can rely on, it's really hard to explain, but it is worth its weight in gold. And those tasks that, I don't know, they might require trimming all the edges up or whatever, like, the efficiency is mental. I would say get someone on a trial week, and give it a go. Maybe have them self-employed for a month if you don't want to commit to. But it would be interesting. I'd love to know, like, where it takes you.
I'm sort of waiting. In some ways, I want someone to come and find me. Right. But it's not going to happen. No. So I'm going to have to do something eventually. Yeah. But it's the same as when you start it. When's the right time? There isn't one. I should have done it ages ago. But there can be a lot of stress that goes with it. Definitely. So part of me has always thought, just take on what I can take on to the absolute limit by offering everything I can at every property. Yeah. And then I can't do any more. Yeah. Now I'm getting to that. I'm like, well, I'm at the next step. So it's I've got to do the jump at some point.
I remember when we first took Ash on, and Ash had got, like, the experience that we'd wanted plus more, and I felt like he was worth more money than I'd advertised and all of this, and was just going through, like, this internal battle of can I afford him and stuff like that. But, like, if you wait for the right person and they jump on a team, I think pretty much, like, as soon as Ash had seen each site, we'd go for a quick walk around, I'd show him the new site that he'd never seen before, and boom. So they are, like, if you can get someone, I'm not saying go back to your old golf course and pick your favourite person and steal them, but if you can find someone that you trust, or even if you found another contractor in your area that you trust, just to start building the portfolio up before you get them in, which you've probably thought about, but yeah, it makes life a lot less stressful. Sometimes the onus isn't just on you. But so, what are the plans for you creating a YouTube channel? Or?
Yeah, because I've kind of done about the last year. I've been relentless on Instagram with consistency. So then I was like, okay, I'm kind of building this. Let's now put some other stuff, like the other side of it, sort of behind the scenes. Because on Instagram, you're only really seeing the good bit. Yeah. You're not seeing the day-to-day. So I thought, why not try and document that? So I've sort of started it, but probably at the worst time of the year, because all I was doing was collecting leaves. Yeah. And it's been wet and horrible. I don't want to film. So I'm going to try and trickle a few bits out through the winter, and then obviously get into spring, and then all the lawn work starts.
You'll be surprised. Like, some of our old lawn care videos that I've got no interest in making nowadays. Maybe if it was for a large football pitch or something like that, but they do so well in winter because I know Robbie from Premier Lawn stuck out like the worst thing about winter lawns, and it was like clearing leaves. Yeah. And, like, you'll be so surprised. Like, you just have to think out the box, but. When is the channel live now, or?
It's live, yeah.
It's live, right. Yeah. We're going to slap that in the description so everyone go subscribe to CJ and hassle him to release a video. Yeah. But how have you, was it just because we've found out today that you've not really used Instagram for marketing, it's more of like your online catalogue. So what's, like, the end goal? Is it to work with brands in the future?
It'd be nice to, yeah. It'd be nice to see, like what WeBang have done. They've seen something I've put up and developed a product out of that. Yeah. And then I'm like, they've taken everything I've said and built it.
They're never going to admit that either. That's going to be one of my life missions, to get them to admit that they've seen your video.
Yeah. And it's quite an achievement. I'm like, oh, that worked from me putting a photo up of me drilling and screwing bits to a mower. They've made it into a product, and the hype that was around that product at the shows was massive. Yeah. But yeah, I did like that part of it. But with the brands, obviously it'd be nice for brands to be approaching all of us. The
Definitely.
more views we get, the more following we got. We're out there showing the tools and using the tools all day. So it'd be nice to have someone come up and maybe want to come on board with me.
Definitely. Definitely. To be continued.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I think as well, a lot of people are always like, oh, you just want brand deals because you want money and like, I don't know, you just want free kit and stuff like that. But I think in our industry, we've got like a lot of pride, especially like if you take agriculture from young, if someone works on a farm, their dad might have had a John Deere and they're John Deere for life.
Yeah.
So I can see our industry going like that. You see it on forums all the time, like, oh, you must have a Toro, or you must have an Arians, or you must have this. So, I think it's people's identity, what kit they run. And I'm a bit of a, I don't know if I can use the word slag on a podcast, but I'm a bit of a manufacturer slag. I don't really give a what colour it is, as long as it does the job and it's decent. Like for Hustler, I've had the Super 104 and it's fantastic. I've had other Hustlers and they've been awful, breaking down, whatnot. So yeah, I'm not liberty to one brand, but I was saying to you, I'd quite like to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see in the future if anything happens. So if you was to give someone starting out right today, or someone that's maybe looking into lawn care, maybe at the minute they're just doing maintenance, just cutting grass, they're not doing renovations, what would you advise?
I would just trawl through YouTube.
Yeah.
Because you can learn so much. Like if I looked back when I started the business and watched everything that's online on how to do it and just tips, you'll pick up loads of tips from people. So I would just trawl through that researching. Like it costs you nothing.
Literally, me and Ash, well, my wife will back this up as well, but like the amount, I remember the day I bought the tractor, I knew I needed a tractor because our sites, we were running out of daylight every day and it was like, we need to make this more efficient, we need a tractor.
Yeah.
Never driven a tractor in my life, ever. I've driven lorries, so I knew like split of gearboxes and stuff like that weren't a problem. But like in terms of like all the back end stuff, like the rear PTO, the rear link and stuff like that, I was like, oh my God. Like I literally was driving back from Nottingham, driving back from Nottingham in the tractor, teaching myself what all the stuff is on my phone from YouTube, which people are going to laugh at, but I don't care. It's one of those things that I had to do to progress the business and actually stay afloat of our current contracts, and you do, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, we live in a day and age where you can learn anything, and that's why I think people like you, I'm so happy that you're setting up a YouTube, and obviously our last guest, Dave, the lawn guy, his YouTube, because I think there's room for everyone, 100%, because viewers are going to connect to different types of people, and like a viewer will know within 10 seconds whether they like that person, which is judgmental as hell, but
there's no right or wrong way either, because everyone could do it completely different.
Yeah.
And you can't say, oh, you should only do it this way, because someone else might do it differently and get the same result.
So you probably had it on the golf course, being the only apprentice. I'm sure that there was greenkeepers that were set in their ways and it had to be done like this, like.
Yeah, it was. They didn't like, I mean, didn't even know how to drive anything, and they're taking you around the golf course showing you how to drive, but I haven't got a clue what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And there's a big progression there which helped. But it's like you've got to show someone. I mean, I think a lot of people learn differently, don't they? Some would listen to it, someone would read it. I'd learn quite easily from watching.
Right.
And I think everyone's a bit like that now with your phone.
Definitely.
If you're watching how to do something, it's everything there.
Yeah.
All the details, everything.
It makes it a lot easier as well. It's like a bit of reassurance or whatever, and like I've done videos how to drive a digger. Like obviously I knew how to drive a digger, but it's just crazy. Like the amount of people that I've had people commenting saying, I've been driving a digger for 27 years and I never knew that. And I'm reading the comment like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I think everyone, you can learn little bits and little things off of loads of people. So I think, there's definitely room for lots of content creators in our industry, and hopefully, I think the theme we've got from this one is hopefully brands will start to listen to the content creators, but we'll see. So any big plans for next year, apart from maybe expanding, or any eyes on kit, or?
I'm not sure I can talk about what might potentially be coming just yet. We'll have to see what happens and when this is coming out.
We'll skip that question then.
Interesting times.
Yeah. So I know, I'm just going to leave it at that. Is there going to be a point where you'll transition into doing work for sports clubs, consultancy, or heading into that domain, or just not interested?
No, I think where I've got my foot in the door with these sites I've got, they're sort of retirement home sort of places, and there's thousands.
Right.
Like, and here, there and everywhere I'm getting offered them.
Right.
So this is why I've got to take the next step.
Yeah,
because I'm potentially saying no to all this work that's coming to me.
Yeah.
Because I can message an area manager and say, have you got any sites that need quoting? And he'll say, yeah, actually, like this one, and this one, they're terrible. They're looking for quotes. And because I'm already on board with that company, I can kind of jump up and get straight in there. There's no real paperwork for them. It's just work out the price from their budget.
Yeah.
See what I can offer them, and then you're in there basically.
I'd definitely jump on that, even if you were subbing it out.
Yeah, how I've built it, because you take on a bad site, I've always thought if you're trying to take a member or staff that don't really know what they're doing, and you're taking them to a mess, and you're like, right, we want to get this looking nice, they're going to look at it and go, what do I do? Where do I start? It's probably overwhelming them, or they're thinking, we're never going to get this looking good. So I've kind of think I get in the site, turn the whole site around, and then potentially I can put the member of staff on the site that's ready to maintain.
That's a good idea. That's a very good idea.
Because all they've then got to do is go in there and keep it looking like that.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be looking worse. Just keep it like this.
Yeah, that's a good mentality, because even if you used to do that and then subcontract it, like if you've done the back work and then you've set the expectation, that could work really well. But I definitely think you should jump on getting someone and give it a go. Yeah. Give it a go. Get the work first. Yeah. And then act like you've had these sites for ages. Oh no, mate, yeah. But yeah. So who else do you think we should get on this channel that you think might have a story that needs to be told?
I would say Mike Day.
Right.
Obviously, me and Mike are doing loads of videos, collaborating all the time.
Yeah.
He's got an interesting story. Everyone's story is different, isn't it? We're all doing the same stuff, but it's all completely different background. So I would say Mike. Who else would I recommend? I'm not really too sure.
Well, let's see then. We have had conversations with Mike, so hopefully in the new year we can get him up here. Up or down? Up.
Yeah, up.
Yeah, but we'll see. So, but mate, I really appreciate obviously you travelling all this way to come on Little Old Me's podcast. And as I've said, hopefully we can get out and do some work with yourself, maybe when you get some new sites and you need a hand. Yeah, so hopefully me and Ash can come down and smash some sites out for you maybe. Probably won't get the grasses as good as you can get it, but if we can get a tractor in there, we definitely can. But so where can people, before we sign off, where can people find you? What's the YouTube? What's the Instagram?
Instagram is cj.garden.services, and I'm pretty sure YouTube is the same. We'll stick it in the description anyway, but thank you so much for coming, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. And please, anyone watching this, go and support CJ. Go and follow him on Instagram. Go and follow him on YouTube. And let's try and build up a little support network of
content creators and people in our industry.
Well, I think that's what we all need to do. We're not against each other.
No, definitely not.
And we all need to come together.
100%. And tell these brands, start paying the big bucks. For anyone that is watching this though and has managed to get it this far, so episode 1 and CJ was filmed on the same day, and the amount of issues we've had to overcome today for it being the first podcast is insane. And CJ and Dave's patience has been extremely high, and they've been very helpful, so I appreciate it very, very much. And hopefully, if this does become a theme and we carry it on past winter, then we'll be able to look back and thank you for this. And if you get a brand deal before us, just remember us, and if we get a brand deal... Anyway, we'll see you in the next one.